Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and today we are going to be talking about the most ignored starting adventure module ever. Here we go. So if you are new to Dungeons & Dragons and you're looking to DM an adventure, likely you're going to pick up the starter set, and in that is going to be the Lost Mines of Phandelver. And you're going to find lots and lots of resources to help you with the Lost Mines of Phandelver, because it's basically a cult classic at this point. Everyone has heard of this adventure, if not played in it or DM'd it at some point if they play 5e. It is the starting adventure, and if you want to know why, I've got a video about that. But in the Essentials kit, you get this adventure, the Dragon of Icespire Peak. And this one is largely ignored by the D&D community. I mean, completely. And I got to wondering, why? Why do we just basically pretend this doesn't exist when there are lots of very useful things that are in that Essentials kit? Why do we just throw this out? And so we're going to be looking at 3 reasons why this is ignored, but 3 reasons why you should still have it on hand, whether you're a veteran DM or a brand new one. So there are 3 main reasons that I think this adventure module is completely ignored. Number 1, it's in the Essentials kit, not the starter set. Number 2, it doesn't have a story. And number 3, it doesn't fit with the Lost Mines of Phandelver. So let's break this down. First, it's in the Essentials kit. I did a video unboxing both the starter set and the Essentials kit, and by far, I thought that there were more useful resources in the Essentials kit. However, most people are going to pick up the starter set because they know that Lost Mines is in that starter set. And once you have the starter set, from there, it's very likely that you're going to pick up the main books, so the Player's Handbook, the DMG, and the Monster Manual, and you're going to start creating your own adventures or campaigns from there, meaning most people don't really have a need or a use for the Essentials kit. Once they have the starter set, they've run the starter adventure, and they're off to other things. So the Essentials kit, if it's not picked up at the same time, usually just kind of gets ignored and doesn't get used at all, even though there are some really useful things in there. Number 2, it doesn't have a story. Now, it has an overarching conflict, but there's literally not a story to this. So if you've watched my video on Lost Mines, you know that one of the reasons why it's the starting adventure is because it has a good story. In contrast, this has no story. And what I mean by that is that your players are all in Phandalin, and they go to a job board, and this entire module is just the job board quests that are on the job board. There's no greater plot or deeper meaning connecting these things together. There's simply a dragon in the area that's wreaking havoc and causing things to be displaced, and because of that, there are monsters to be killed. That's it. I don't know what else to say about it. There's just not a story. So instead of this being a true adventure, I would honestly call this a collection of side quests. Something useful to have on hand, but not an adventure. And then last of all, it simply doesn't fit with the Lost Mines of Phandelver. A lot of people have argued that this is the adventure that you should go on after the Lost Mines, but that doesn't make sense, because this takes your adventurers from level 1 to 5, just like the Lost Mines does. So if your players have just completed the Lost Mines, they're already at 5th level, and they're going to find most of the jobs in here extremely boring. Now, you can pump them up, you can add more monsters, you can tweak some of the monsters, but again, that's not really something that most new DMs are comfortable with doing. They prefer to run things as written. So this simply doesn't make sense to run after the Lost Mines, as it's going to be way too easy. Another option is that you could run this at the same time as the Lost Mines of Phandelver, because your players are going to go to Phandalin. And so while they're in Phandalin, you could have the job board and they could go about and do all of these different jobs and level up before they go into Wave Echo Cave. However, that doesn't quite make sense either, as the plot of the Lost Mines kind of revolves around stopping the Black Spider before he finds, spoiler alert, the magic cauldron thing. So it doesn't really make sense to have your players running around the countryside completing completely random side quests just to get some money and level up before they go into the mines, as there's supposed to be this sense of urgency. So it doesn't really fit to go alongside the Lost Mines either, which just kind of leaves it hanging out in no man's land. However, just because it doesn't make sense to run alongside of the Lost Mines of Phandelver doesn't mean that it's not very useful. And there are 3 ways that I find this very, very useful. 1, ready-made side quests. 2, session zeros. And 3, one-shots, which I guess you could roll all together into optional adventures. So maybe not so much 3 separate things, as this is a collection of optional adventures, especially for low-level characters. As a matter of fact, it's actually very, very useful to have level 1, 2, and 3 side quests. I have a whole bunch of them on my website, side quests for adventures levels 1 through 4. This is another great and useful option for that, because it comes with the monsters that you're going to need. It comes with NPC cards. It comes with item cards. It comes with all those cool things that we talked about in the starter box that you can give out to your players when they finish these side quests. It also keeps them near Neverwinter. So if you're running anything within Faerun, it's going to kind of match with that. So you can keep this on hand if your players need quick and easy side quests. Also, if your players are doing a session 0 for a brand new campaign, there's some really great options in here to get them started, get them bonding, get them feeling like adventurers without having any additional plot or things that they need to go and investigate. I mostly put one-shots on here because there's one particular adventure in here that I find exceptionally good, and I think it would be a fantastic one-shot adventure. This adventure has to do with a lighthouse and an evil entity there that's been causing shipwrecks, and a banshee and caves underneath and a giant crab. It's just very interesting, and I really like it, and you could totally run it as a quick and easy ready-made one-shot for your campaigns. So let's recap. This is ignored, but I don't think it should be. No, it's not a great adventure as it's written. No, it doesn't have a story or a timeline or any kind of useful stuff for leveling up your players or keeping them engaged, but it does have a lot of very useful and fun side quests, adventures, and session zeros that could get your players going. Where I think this adventure module really shines is if you want to do just a 1 or 2 session starting adventure before you start something like Curse of Strahd. This is perfect for that, where you can just have all of your players start in Phandalin in front of the job board and let them pick something. They can do that one thing, and then maybe as they're coming back or as a part of that side quest, then you have the mists that come in and transport them somewhere else. Or that one lighthouse adventure I was talking about, perfect intro little side quest to Storm King's Thunder. It would be fantastic for that. So that's where this really shines. Is it a full-fledged starting adventure that your players are going to absolutely love the story of? No. Is it super useful and definitely has times when this is a better option than the Lost Mines? Absolutely. So please stop ignoring this poor little adventure. It actually has some wonderful things to offer you. And I certainly hope that this gives your game advantage. And until next time, Halfling Nana here, signing out. Big shout out to all of my amazing patrons who actually helped me think through this video and come up with some of the ideas that I put into this video. You guys are fantastic, and I literally could not do this without you. If you would like to join these incredible halflings, then make sure that you head on over to Patreon. Bye! which there's nothing wrong with. And it's, got so excited, I can't talk.